My
All
guy,
right.
what's up, Bump?
Good
Top of the
morning,
morning.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you a question. I want you to elaborate on the new phenomenon that is affecting high school basketball recruiting, and it's called the transfer portal. I want you to elaborate on the impact that it's having on high school basketball recruiting, how it's affecting recruits and coaching.
Wow. So the transfer portal is where college coaches are going. The old rule in transferring. So transferring is like people make the transfer portal seem like it's something new. Transferring has always been in existence in college sports.
Right.
The rules were you had to sit out a year in regards to residency. You had to spend a year of residency going from one school to the next. So if you went up, meaning Division III, Division II, Division II, Division I, that's going up, you automatically had to sit out. But if you went down from Division I and Division II, you could play right away. There were a
Right.
lot of cases where you could apply for a waiver to play right away. Football did it a lot. Other sports did it a lot. But now, obviously, what we're talking about in basketball, transfer portal is now where kids can go. If I'm at a Division I school and I say I want to transfer, I don't have to go to the coaches. Prior to the portal, you had to get a release
Right.
from the school, from the program, from the coaches. Right,
Right.
coach, I want to transfer. The release gives you permission to talk to other schools. If the
Right.
coach does not give you the release, then you had to apply for a waiver. Certain time frame, you get a judge of academic folks, campus, from compliance to faculty rep, athletic rep, they call it AR, um, someone else on campus, professor, or administrator. And hearing, you get to where uh, the waiver was approved, the transfer release was approved, you won the appeal, you transfer. If not, you had to stay. And so in the transfer portal, now athletes, all sports, can go to their compliance director and say, I want to transfer. I'm going into the portal. Compliance officer says, okay, do you have GPA, certain credits towards your graduation? You have to meet these academic requirements. Okay, good luck. And so with that, college coaches are not in basketball. Now we just go into Division I college basketball, Division II college basketball, Division III college basketball. They're not recruiting high school kids. They're not recruiting junior colleges unless you're top 30, top 50
Right.
in your state, top 100, top 200 in the country.
Right.
Obviously, the McDonald's All-Americans and those kids that are going, those highly ranked kids. If you're not in that group,
Right.
the Division I schools, I don't care from the lowest of the low majors to the blue bloods, they're not recruited. They're going to the portal first. And you look at the
Right.
numbers, it was over 1,000 kids, it was over 1,000 athletes in Division I college basketball alone that were in the transfer portal
Right.
alone. And so with that, they're actually saying, the coaches are saying to their staff, I was just a head coach 2 years ago for 3 seasons at a Division I school. And when the transfer portal hit in 1819, 1920, it was, okay, who's in the portal? You have actual footage, you have actual game tape, college basketball games that they play. So for any position that these schools need or want, go to the portal first. Why? They've been on a college campus for at least a season,
Right.
experience playing college basketball,
Right.
classes, time management, preseason conditioning, weights, study hall, travel,
Right.
the whole nine, game day shoot-arounds. They've been through it.
Right.
Where I don't give you McDonald's All-American. You coming out of high school, right? If you're a JUCO All-American, you don't have that experience. You don't even have the footage
Right.
that's on Synergy. Whereas a coach, I can tell my staff, hey, listen, go look at Eric Alston. He was just at ICMPLAY. They played these high major schools. He had 20 in this game. He had 12 in this game. He had 8 assists in this game. He had triple-double in that game. Go watch them games. Tell me what he can do. Tell me what you think.
Right.
Can he help us? Can he fit? Can he replace so-and-so that left?
Right.
So you top 50, like go to the Tracy McGrady story, right? Tracy McGrady in the state of Florida, where you at. Coming out of the summer of 96, was not ranked in the top 50 in the state of Florida.
Right.
Tracy McGrady came to ABCD camp, and I'll tell my man's story, Pat Kennedy. Pat Kennedy was the head coach of Florida State in the ACC, knew his guys, knew his circle, called Sonny Vaccaro and the people with Adidas, get him an invite. Tracy's circle of coaches and mentors got him the invite in the ABCD camp. He comes to ABCD camp summer 96 with the top in the class, Lamar Odom, Mark Karcher, Baron Davis, on and on and on and on and on. And he comes in unranked, and he leaves out top 5 in the class of 97.
Yep.
So Tracy McGrady, I like to tell this story, Bump, as we both know because we lived it. Tracy McGrady went into the summer of 96, come June of 96, was not ranked in the top 50 in the state of Florida. June of 97, he was the 7th pick in the draft, in the NBA draft. So unless, and those phenoms, those phenomenons, right, they still exist today, right? You got Anthony Davis growing all these inches in 1 year and going to Kentucky, one and done, win a national championship, things of that nature. But for the high school kids, they're not looking at them first. So, and possibly, and correct me if I'm wrong, today, because it's so much watered down with these camps, Tracy McGrady may not happen. He may be John Morant.
Right.
May have to go to a mid-major, play for a year or two to be the number 2 pick in the draft.
Right.
At Murray State. And go to the Sweet 16 or whatever they did in 2 years, right? So the transfer portal and where we're going with recruiting in college basketball, it's a new day. It's a new game. It's a new process. I feel bad for all the parents and coaches of these kids that are the John Morants of the world in regards to they're not getting the exposure, the opportunity to be seen, to be evaluated, or just get a fair shot at scholarship. In this facility I'm working in here in Northern Virginia called Shoot 360 in Slam City, the program I'm working with, we got kids coming in here. A kid went to play in the WCAC, one of the best high school conferences in the country, right? The Matha, Gonzaga, Paul VI, all these top high school programs. And it's arguably one of the best high school leagues in the country. I'm from Baltimore. I got my biases, but he played in the WCAC, didn't get an offer, went to prep school, went to a highly ranked, highly well-known prep school, didn't get an offer. Now he's in junior college. Now he's a freshman. He's going to a junior college down there in the state of Florida. So he's going to play in that Florida JUCO league. So just not getting, and talented.
Right.
6'3", 6'4", strong, really good shooter, high-level shooter. Great kid, military kid, mom and dad, great mom and dad, good household, two-parent household, the whole nine.
Right.
Just not getting the offers. And we are not adding, like we talked about, we're not adding. There's no new colleges coming about that's going to offer 13 more scholarships. So you have the Division IIs to go to Division IIIs, the Merrimacs or Bryant colleges that were Division IIs, they go to Division I, or the HBCUs, Winston-Salem State, North Carolina Central, that go from 2 to 1, or then Winston-Salem State goes back down to Division II after a couple of years in Division I. They're not adding new schools. So those scholarships of those 353 schools that are Division I, they're not adding many more. And if they do, it's 15 for the women and 13 for the men. That's the only number of scholarships that's being added. Right. So in coming into 22, 23, like the last 3 classes, the class of 21, class of 20, 21, and 22, you have so many kids, high school kids, that are talented, that are eligible. A lot of them now, because of COVID, had a
Right.
COVID waiver for eligibility, right?
Right.
They had a waiver in regards to, and the NCAA is doing away with the test score, the mandatory test score. So if you can be admitted into whatever institution you want to go play at, you don't have to have the scale, the matching GPA with SAT score for
Right.
eligibility.
Right.
So moving into an opportunity for these kids to be seen, like your camp, and hopefully we're going to talk about that. Your camp that's coming up, it gives these kids an opportunity to be evaluated,
Right.
to be seen by the likes of yourself. I mean, you've been in the scouting game since the late '80s,
Right.
right? So you see them come and see them go. I mean, literally the late '80s, which
Right.
I remember we went to the original ABCD camp up in Princeton, the Nike ABCD camp, and we saw the high school likes of Chris Webber, Glenn Robinson, Jawan Howard,
Right.
Cherokee Parks, right? Do battle, where it
Right.
was one camp.
Right.
There was one camp. It wasn't Adidas, Nike, Under Armour. It was one camp
Right.
for the best high school players in the country. So your expertise and your experience in evaluating these kids, your camp will be a hell of an opportunity. And hopefully you're going to talk about that for these kids to get exposure, get in front of college coaches of all levels.
Right. 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 So what you're saying is, because of the transfer portal and college basketball coaches' lack of reliance on high school now, players must do a little bit more to get a little bit more exposure, particularly
Yeah,
like the event we have. And
exactly.
like,
They're
what
going
can
to have to
do?
go ahead.
What can a player do to increase his exposure?
Great question. Well,
What
one,
events, you know?
yeah, one is this camp. Obviously, attend something like these, and I've seen them in the DMV, the DC, Maryland area, Baltimore. Obviously, you having yours in Florida. Get to these camps because at least someone like yourself is putting eyes on them, evaluating them, film, live streaming like we're doing right now, where
Right.
these kids will be able to, a college coach can log on and watch. And they have their grad assistants and their dobos, their director of basketball operations at every level. Their staffs
Right.
will log on and watch.
Right.
And a kid does something that, catches your attention,
Right.
dunks on somebody, that hits a couple threes and shows their abilities, right? So now, okay, what's his name? Where does he go to school? Here's an opportunity. So for the kids today with social media, with the internet, think about when you first started in just the paper, right? The paper scouting reports, right? And Hoop Scoop and, the Sawgrass Scout and Bob Gibbons All-Star reports and Clark Francis and the Hoop Scoop. That's how these kids got ranked. That's how these kids got exposed. That's how your name got out there.
Right.
Now with the internet, I mean, literally, your camp, they come to your camp August 12th.
August 12th through the 14th.
August 12th through the 14th in Florida. They come to your camp. They get on this court for a game, 2 games, 3 games. They're live streamed.
Right.
They get out, and these events, because this is not the first and this is not the only one, but this is another opportunity for these kids to get in front of coaches. They've cut back July. They've cut back the recruiting periods. They've gone to the high school periods in June on the weekends, so you play with your high school. I think that's a great idea because the high school coaches they felt like with AAU, they weren't a part of it, blah, blah, blah. But now you give them, and the coaches, the college coaches, now we get to see them play with their high school teams.
Right.
As compared to with this all-star team,
AAU
team. So July's been cut back. I still have my reservation. That's a conversation for another day about the NCAA in July. But at least with these type of events and the beauty of social media and the internet, you can get them out there. You can get them more exposure. And I'll say this too. to everybody that's within our conversation this morning, don't send highlights. Hear me clearly. Do not, because you and me, Bump, could take this camera, right?
Right.
Set it up in the gym, and all our makes, we splice it, we dice it, we put music to it. It's all our makes, right?
Right.
And where's Skeeters play at? Damn, I ain't know he was that good. Yeah, because I didn't miss. In the highlights, I did not miss. Right? Send a game. Send a game, actual game of you playing against actual real competition. And yes, the better the competition, the better the video. So if you played against a top ranked kid in your state, you played against a top ranked kid in the country, because people love talking, man, I played against, John Moran, or I played against this guy. Okay, then send that game. Now send the highlights along with it, right? If it's a 2-hour game, send the highlights, send notes. But to send just these emails of your highlights to college coaches, listen, been doing this since 92, college Division I since 96. You don't miss in a highlight. Everybody can do a highlight. Mom and dad can do a highlight film. So that would be the two things, is getting to events like ICMPLAY, this last chance camp, and obviously when you have this footage, sending it out whole, as best you can.
Right. I appreciate you, folks. I'm here with former Division I head basketball coach Eric Skeeters, and he's shedding a little light on the whole recruiting process and how it's changed. Coach, let's do this again. I got to run, but let's do this again leading up to the
Without a doubt.
All right, and you're gonna have to come down and run it. So I'm gonna work on your plane ticket today. And I hit you back today. Let's try to do this again. It's all love.
You got it. All right, Eric. Love you, baby.
All right.
I don't think they running at my pace. Jordan 1s.